Good day, everybody. My name is Naughty Frog. If you ended up here, it's probably because you have searched for an Arx Fatalis Editor. So, does it exist? Where to find it? How to use it? That's some of the questions I will be answering in today's video. Let's talk about the damnable but necessary Arx Editor. In short, DANAE. DANAE is an editor which can interact with every single entity of the entire game. It is quite potent, it is quite buggy, but thanks to this video, you should be good. Sadly, DANAE is not a mesh editor, meaning we can't really create new zones out of the blue, but that does not mean it can't be done at all. But that is another subject. Let's install, explain, and use DANAE together. First of all, install Arx Fatalis. It can be the GOG version or the Steam version, that does not matter. Attention, if you are on Windows, and it is most likely the case, don't install Arx Fatalis inside Program Files 86 or Program Files. These specific folders have a built-in protection from Windows that prevents the generations of files from unknown, non-affiliated sources. Of course, there is a way to bypass this protection, but it will be much easier to put your game files in a dedicated folder, such as Games. Secondly, download the Arx Libertatis port. It's free, and it greatly improves every aspect of the game. And it has very useful feature for modding that you don't want to miss out. Libertatis automatically detects your copy of Arx Fatalis. Be sure to select Create a separate Arx Libertatis install and the Copy Arx Fatalis data. Make sure that you are installing Libertatis in the Games folder and finish installation. Thirdly and last, make a copy of your Arx Libertatis folder. Rename it very clearly as the folder for all your tests and experimentations. To explain briefly why you should have these three folders, Arx Fatalis folder in case you ever need to delete your Libertatis folders and reinstall the Libertatis port. Arx Libertatis folder in case you ever need to delete your modified Libertatis folder and recreate a fresh new one. I strongly recommend creating desktop shortcuts for each of those instances. This will be useful later on. With that being said and done, it's time to get your hands on DANAE itself. Like everybody before you will go pay a visit to DimGov's 86 website. And I know what you are thinking, but you should not. Let me explain. On this webpage, you will find two different DANAE, the one at the top and the one at the very bottom. The first link gives you a DANAE as raw as an apple. I never managed to make it work properly on my Windows 10. It's laggy, buggy, junky. I dismiss it right away. That's why I will always recommend you to get the second build of DANAE at the bottom, which is named DANAE Test. This particular build works way better, and it has a connected script editor feature. Back to the path where you have installed your Arx instances, put the DANAE test.rar and extract it to a DANAE folder. Once this is done, open the DANAE folder and look after those files, which are named a funpack. Copy all three a funpack and paste them in the Arx Libertatis modified folder. Always keep the originals. Still in the modified folder, you can now launch the funpack.bat, and this will extract all and every resources that Arx has in its .pack files. After the extraction is finished, you can delete them from the modified folder as their job is done. A technical explanation of what is happening and why this is mandatory. If you want to use DANAE correctly, you will need to have direct access to Arx Fatalis inner resources, especially the entities. All this data such as speeches, sounds, 3D objects, levels, and so on, are contained in the .pack formats. To use DANAE properly, we have to extract all the data to have a clear access to everything. Side note, with Arx Libertatis installation, you will get that executable named Arx Unpack, which basically does the same thing as Unpack. But there is a trick here. If you use this pack extractor, the unpacked resources will end up in C users, your name, save games, Arx Libertatis unpacked folder. It can be very useful in some cases, but not when using DANAE. DANAE accepts any modifications you do on conditions that it all comes from the same game folder. The unpacked resources from the unpacked folder being out of the modified folder, DANAE won't work. Okay, great, your DANAE is nearly ready, but you have to do one last thing before using it. Shut down your computer entirely, reboot the entire system. If you are wondering why we have to do a full reboot, let me remind you that DANAE is a very old program for a very old game, and DANAE will only work properly if it has fully loaded on the restart of your operating system, especially Windows. But you might be old enough to remember when we had to restart our computers after every installations. Go back to your DANAE folder and launch the executable. As you can see, it opened a window at the top left of your screen. This window cannot be moved in any ways. Click on Choose Dir for directory and search for your Arx Libertatis modified folder. Select it and validate. Now DANAE is accessing the correct folder. About everything else you can see on the DANAE launcher window, really, trust me, don't touch anything. As I told you, DANAE is very old and some options are between not working and makes DANAE crash. So really, don't go crazy with the options. Here are the only 3 things you should interact with: the Choose Dir button, the Texture Size section, and the Launch Game button. Forget the rest. As we are talking about the texture size section, always select 32 bits, as you may experiment more bugs and crashes with the 16 bits option. Once your modified folder is selected and the textures are set to 32 bits, you can finally use the Launch Game button. Don't use OK button or else you will end up in limbo level. Splendid, you are set and ready to use DANAE, but I am pretty sure some more explanation and tips could be useful to you, otherwise you might actually destroy your Arx instance without even noticing how you did. Once you have launched DANAE, you will end up with those 2 windows, DANAE Project and Interactive Objects. DANAE Project contains the regular Arx Fatalis game and the editing toolbar. Interactive Objects contains the list of every entity that got loaded on the last level you've been to. The current last loaded item is dagger 020, which is a dagger that kills a guard during the introduction. Mainly, we will almost never use this window anyway. First thing you should do after getting to the main menu of Arx is to rush into the sound options and turn everything down to 2. For your own good. This volume change will be remembered by DANAE the next time you will use it. The full screen mode button is not working, but you can go full screen by dragging the window to one of the sides of your screen. For an unknown reason, the reduce window button works. Now, we are going to do an actual modification inside the game. Press New Game, skip the cinematic, escape from the goblin cell, make this young one regret his life choices, and go to the locked iron door. Right now, you are inside the game in player mode, meaning that you are interacting with entities like Arcane intended, and more precisely, how they are scripted. To enter the edition mode, Open your inventory to unlock the control of your cursor and press on the gear on top. You can now look around and see all those blue rectangles. Those rectangles indicate the position of all entities within the level. Now that you can see them, let me tell you more about entities. Those are sorted in 5 different categories. Fix Inter, which contains all the interactives that cannot be moved by the player using the drag and drop mechanic, such as chest, doors, and levers. Items, which contains all the interactives that the player can move using the drag and drop mechanic, such as food, weapon, and armors. NPC, which contains all the NPCs of the game, hostile or friendly, from the goblin you just punched to death to the frightful Illicid warrior that rushes you without a second thought. Player, which contains you, as you are an entity in the game, an entity we call Amshega. System, which contains only 2 things: cameras that are used in all the in-game cinematics, and markers that Arx is using to make some NPC to patrols or even wandering around. I will show you more about them. Back to the metal door in front of you. If you click once, the blue rectangle becomes yellow, meaning you have selected it. If you double click it, it will open a third window, Script Editor. Okay, so this is one of the most important part of this video. I will explain to you what class script and local script are and what is ASL in general. ASL stands for Arx Scripting Language, which is what we are reading and modifying with DANAE, and it is also a file format that Arx or DANAE reads and uses. To explain how the file system and the scripting structure of Arx work, let's take the example of the chest metal.asl. We have precisely 133 occurrences of this object inside the entire game, and all those chests have the same main behavior. They all look similar, their animations of opening and closing are similar, etc., etc. But what they are containing is always different. In the game files that we will be looking into, there is a chest metal.asl occurrence. This is a template file with its main code, and every other's instances are variations based on it. Meaning, if you are modifying anything in the class script, you would be modifying the parent file, and this will affect the behavior of all children files. That is something you really should avoid doing, unless you are very sure of what you are doing. To do modification on a specific entity only, such as this selected metal door, only do modifications in the local script section. Now, look at this on init block. Go to the Set Unlock 0 line and change 0 by 1. Simple binary system. 0 is false, 1 is true. Press OK. Validate the modification of local script. Now you can either press on the gear button to restart the entire level inside of DANAE, or go to your desktop, launch your modified Arx and start a new game. As we have set the unlock value to 1, this means that you can now open this door freely. For this next part, I will tell you how to navigate between levels easily and how to add new entities to the game. For this demonstration, we'll move to another level in the game. To switch between levels in DANAE, you can go to File, Load Level. We are going to the Goblin Kingdom, so open Level 2 folder and pick the Level 2.dlf. DLF stands for DANAE level file. And of course, you can access to any other level by walking in game, the regular way. To switch between levels even more easily, the shortcut key to the load level window is F4. We have loaded level 2.dlf, the Goblin Kingdom, And now I will go to my favorite place to do DANAE tests. You can move inside levels by two different ways, either enabling edition mode to no-clip through walls, or stay in player mode. In player mode, if you need to pass an obstacle, press the combined keys Shift plus C to enter no-clip mode. Do it again to quit it. The page up and page down keys of your numpad allow you to go up and down. These page up and page down controls are also working if you are in edition mode. And if you find yourself struggling, remember that numpad 5 makes you land, either if you are too high or too low. Great, here we are. This place has a lot of lights and a lot of space. If you are currently in full screen mode, you should reduce the window, as we are about to go into the unpacked files at the same time. So, Arx Libertatis Modified, Graph, Object 3D, Interactive. As you can see, here are the 5 categories of entities I told you about. Go to Fix Inter, Chest Metal. Here are all of the 133 metal chests of the game. Go to the bottom of the folder. That particular chest metal.esl is a template file, the parent of all 133 children above. When adding a new entity to Arx, always use the template.esl, not a variation of it. Just drag it onto the DANAE window. Bam! It appears in front of Amshegar. And if you take a look at the main chest metal folder, you will see that a chest metal 134 folder appeared as well. If you go back to DANAE in player mode and try to interact with it, Amshegar will tell you it's locked. That is because its local script is empty, so the class script takes the lead. Go back in edition mode and double-click the chest. In class script, it reads set unlock 0. So, to unlock that particular newly placed chest, we have to modify its behavior in local script. Write in local script on init set unlock 1 accept. Never forget those symbols and the accept line at the end of any block you may write, otherwise it won't work. Now that this 134 metal chest has a self on init block, its local script will take the lead from the template scripts on init block. And if you go back to player mode, now you can open it. Side note, if you want to delete any entity, do it through DANAE. It will automatically detect and delete the corresponding folder from your game files. Select it and press the delete key. To move and rotate entities, such as this metal chest right there, enter Edition Mode and click on it one time. Yellow rectangle, correct. The entity is selected. To help you visualizing the controls, let's look at these representations of numeric keypads. Numpads 8, 6, 4 and 2 are moving the chest on the Z and the X axes. Keep in mind that it depends on which direction you are facing. Numpads plus and minus are moving the chest on the Y-axis. Numpad 7 makes the entity land only if it is above or inside the ground surface. Numpads slash and asterisk are doing the rotation in both directions, left and right, but only on one axis at a time. Numpad 9 switches the rotation axis of your selection, but you have no visible indication of which axis is currently selected. Not a big deal, you will get used to it. Numpad 0 resets the selected entity back to its original orientation. As you can see, the selected entity moves in steps of 20 units each time. If you maintain the Shift key pressed, you can move it one by one. Great, but now you need to save your modifications to make them permanent inside your modified Arx copy. Go to File, Save Level As. And here, please don't fuck this up. I am currently in the Goblin Kingdom, which is level 2.dlf. So make sure you're overwriting the corresponding level in which you have made modifications. Overwriting any other level and you will be in trouble, my boy. Thankfully, as long as you have loaded your wanted level with DANAE, when saving your modifications, you should be in the corresponding folder already. You might be wondering, Frog, why do I need to save my modifications this time? Did I not just unlock that metal door earlier? That is because, in this case, you really added a new entity to the level. Last time, we only modified an existing script of an existing entity. I have few more tips for you, tips that could prevent you to rip your skull out of your head. There are some levels in which each time you load them or enter player mode after a modification, you will get an unnecessary cutscene for a modder. For example, in the very first level of Arx, the Goblin Prisons, each time you switch between mods, you will see Amshega having a bad case of seizure, again and again and again. Or, in the city of Arx, each time you switch between mods, you will get a Northern telepathic phone call, again and again and again. To save your sanity, each time you are about to enter player mode in those levels, press the pause script button, and once you are in player mode, press it again. This feature freezes all scripts, so be vigilant that the script you are testing is not blocked because you forgot to press that button a second time to unfreeze all scripts. Very important, if you want to use DANAE with the least amount of possible issues, don't put your computer in sleep mode. DANAE hates the sleep mode, and it becomes more and more unstable and janky the longer you have put your computer into sleep. If you had a very okay DANAE a few days ago, and if it is now malfunctioning, restart your operating system entirely. Remember, DANAE hates sleep mode. When you are using DANAE a lot, as I do, you want to be back at your stuff the fastest way possible. My best advice is when you have clicked on Launch Game and the main DANAE project window appears, quickly select it and just press F4. So, when the in-game introduction cinematic begins, your loading request will succeed right away. No matter how many instances of Arx Libertatis you may have, each time you save, the saved data goes to this folder, if you are a Windows user. This can lead to strange things. For example, if I do an in-game save from the modified Arx while facing the metal chest, I can load this save with the unmodified Arx Libertatis, and the metal chest would be there too. That should not be possible, as the 134 chest metal.esl only exists in the modified folder. I will not explain how and what is going on, as I have no idea. I'm assuming that is thanks to Libertatis port. But stay assured, it's not messing up with the actual Arx folder or files. Thankfully, if you start a new game from unmodified Arx, you can go see that same place, and you will see that there is nothing left of what you saw. If you happen to switch a lot between Libertatis and modified Libertatis, you might feel lost after 1 hour or two. Go to your Arx Libertatis modified folder, Graph, Interfaces, Menu, and open Menu, Main, Background with GIMP or even Paint. Make a visual change and it might be useful to do the difference. You will also see this visual change when launching game from DANAE 2, as we have selected which folder DANAE have to use. You might want to adjust gamma, luminosity and contrast in DANAE, because it can be really dark in some places. Unfortunately, that's not possible. DANAE has these options hard-coded in its code. But there is a solution. The keys on the top number row correspond to pre-programmed spells. If you have loaded a level through DANAE, your character should have insane stats in everything. Check those numbers. 1 is Fireball, 2 is Night Vision, 3 is Ill, 4 is Speed, 5 is invisibility. 6 is telekinesis. 8 is ice field. 9 is flying eye. About 7, it makes the recalculation of lighting in the area around player with a radius of 12 virtual meters. About drawing runes while being in DANAE, forget about it. I mean, you can try, at least once. You will never try again afterwards. So yes, if it's too dark around you, press stop number 2. Better than nothing. In my point of view, the best way you can understand and experiment with our scripting language or anything related is just to check other entities and edition mode. Wander around, read a lot of different entities codes, and you will slowly understand how to write ASL correctly. The Mox website about DANAE is in Russian, but it is worth to use the translation tool to get more info if you have any questions. Something I did not insist on, but DANAE is very old. It can crash hard if you fiddle with it a bit too much or too long. Save your modifications progress frequently, should I say, constantly. Let's face it now, so it will be less painful when it happens to you. It will happen to you. You will get a crash. The memorable fatal memory error one in particular. If DANAE does not crash, you might see that some newly placed entities got blue-colored. Really, don't even bother trying. Quit DANAE and restart it to load your last saved backup. Okay, I'm done explaining things. I wish you all a great day and have a nice one. Now get lost.